And very good morning to you again. Here we go. And still poking around. Oops, where are we? All right. Cancel. Here we go. We're here back again. And we have got another half hour of feature programs for you. Looking at a little of this and a little of that. And then we have at 10 o'clock the very feisty Liza Page with her alternative views. And she will be telling us what the other half are thinking and viewing about events in the world at the moment. So let us get on with the very first one, because we have as part of our team a lady called Rosie Hayes. No relation to me at all, but we've been friends and colleagues for a long time. And she is a very, very competent journalist. And she runs her own little operation now of a news gathering service, a news agency. But in her day, she has been there, like myself and Stuart, been there, done that, and was one of the very first to interview Castro after he opened up Cuba to the outside world. And but she has done a very nice little piece, and she said, "Keith, you can have this because I know you have the penchant for taking a drink." And she said, one of the things that we don't we take for granted is that all journalists drink. Well, they do. And she said, "You're no different to the rest of them." And but here is a little a piece, an item that looks at sake. And we all think of sake as, yes, we can go for a Japanese meal, and of course we'll be very sophisticated and we'll ask for a little sake afterwards. But sake is becoming a very, very sophisticated drink for those in the know, those who have a taste for this stuff. So she has sent me a piece, and I am very happy to have it. And also to as an entertaining piece, and it's not where it should be. Oh dear! I will never get used to this system. I never get used to it at all. It's oh dear. I could have sworn that I got it absolutely right. Absolutely right, I got it. But no, not a bit of it. Not a bit of it. Here it is. Let us go to this lovely bar in London and see what sake is all about. So I think is the term.
Japanese sake is popping up in all the best restaurants across the capital, and that's why I'm here at Chocomate, a fusion restaurant, Japanese and Peruvian, to meet sake expert Barry McCockley.
First thing to know about sake is what it is. And very simply, sake is brewed like a beer, but it's sold and it's drunk like a wine.
But what do we know about sake? Do we know what's a good one? Do we know what's a bad one? When to drink it, when not to drink it?
In fact, it is a brew like a beer, made from rice instead of grain. And it is sold like a wine. I think that's where the confusion arises. Because in the West, we tend to drink sake like wine. It's got a similar amount of alcohol, it's often drunk with food, and it's often served in the same type of glassware that we would serve wine in.
Could you make it out of any sort of rice, or does it have to be a specific rice?
The best premium sakes from Japan, like we sell here at Choto Mate, are made from sakamai rice, which is rice that is specifically developed for sake.
We've got some over here, in fact we've got quite a few, haven't we?
I think the first distinction is the difference between basic rice wine and premium grade sake. The basic level of sake is essentially basic rice wine. It's sake that can be made with any type of rice and often made outside of Japan as well in places like the USA. Now, premium sake, which is the type of sake that is sold in the best Japanese restaurants around London, that premium sake falls into a variety of different categories. That's where we get names like Junmai and Ginjo and Daiginjo and Onjozo. And these are different styles of sake that people, I think, are starting to recognize.
But today we're looking at the top end sakes, and
Yes.
the first thing I can see is that you've got one which is slightly pink, one which is two that are cloudy, one which is in a lovely blue bottle, looks like a bottled water. Why is that cloudy? Why is that clear?
Most sake would be like this, which is basically clear. Okay, so it has quite a water-like consistency. This one looks like it's got a sort of orangey. Yeah, well, actually, what this started out life totally clear, but it's 10 years old and it's been aged in wood.
But this is lovely and cloudy. I mean, that's
Well, this is an interesting example. This is something that we found is actually quite popular. Yes, it is cloudy. It is called a nigori. So it's a nigori is the type of style. Now, nigori basically means unfiltered and unpasteurized. So what you've got in there essentially is rice.
Is it sparkling? Is
No,
it busy?
no, not at all. It just hasn't been filtered at the end to make it
So
clear.
let's say I was having fish
Yeah.
or sushi.
Yes.
What kind of sake would I go for?
I would go for something like this, which is a Junmai Daiginjo. So Daiginjo relates to the amount of polishing that the grain of rice has to go through before it goes through the fermentation process.
More polished, the crisper, the cleaner the taste.
Typically that's right, yeah. So with a higher level of polishing, you get a sake with more elegance, more aromatics, more floral, melony characters on the nose, and actually more expensive.
So £50 a bottle in a restaurant?
Well, in a restaurant, this is about 75, I think, which would be a fairly modest price for a Junmai Daiginjo. We've got another Junmai Daiginjo here, which sells for about £350.
What's the main style of sake?
Something like this, Dasai 39. 39 denotes the amount of polish. So what that says is
Not
there's-
1939.
No. What that says is there's 39% of the grain of rice left before the fermentation process starts.
How would you enjoy these sakes? Would you drink them warm, cold? How would you?
I think it's important to know that most sake is drunk cold. Most sake is drunk chilled. Very little is actually drunk warm.
So which one are we?
This
trying?
is the Azure.
And is there any particular way of drinking it? Is there a
Well, first and foremost, I have to pour for you,
yeah?
and you have to pour for me.
Very nice. I like that. It's a sharing.
Yeah. So this is served chilled.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you have a quick sniff, it's very, very clean. You're getting a sort of jasmine rice note off the top. Slightly floral.
It is. It's floral, but a little bit peachy too.
Yeah, there's a little bit of peach fruit, a little bit of melon fruit on there.
It's not like anything I've drunk before.
No, it's unlike any other alcoholic beverage.
I mean, I know you're a big fan of sake and food, because I know you say that sake is better with food than wine, which I find hard to believe. But
And I'm going to annoy all the sommeliers out there, but I'm a wine guy originally,
yeah,
and sake matches food better than wine. Full stop.
do you do cheers? You don't do that in Japan.
Kampai.
Kampai.
Yes.
Kampai.
Yes. So this is a cocktail. This is actually one of Chotto Mate's best-selling cocktails. One of the originals that was on the first list we put together here.
And how many versions did it take?
There were hundreds.
Hundreds
of
okay.
this. The basic mix is Junmai Daiginjo sake, something like the Dasai 39 we tried before.
Yeah, so very, very clean.
Very clean,
perfect.
aromatic flavours. We've paired that with Saint-Germain elderflower liqueur,
Yes.
and in this case, Monkey 47 gin, which is a...
How many botanicals in there?
47 botanicals,
Wow.
47% alcohol, and one of the most complex of all gins, and a very, very highly rated and award-winning gin.
And what else goes into it?
A squeeze of lemon, and that's it.
Perfect.
It's shaken and then placed into a coupette with an edible flower.
Got to
Tell me
try
what you
this.
think.
That is the best cocktail I've ever tasted. And it's no lie. It is so pure, so refreshing. Wow. Oh, it goes on and on.
We've got something else for you here.
Yeah,
This is
what's
called
this?
the Quattro Uvas, which is basically means 4 grapes.
Ah.
And what we have in here, this is like a perfect blend here at Chotto Mate between Peruvian and Japanese, which are our 2 core influences. So the Japanese is the sake, which is in here. The Peruvian is pisco,
Yes.
which is
I've heard of that.
a grape distillate. Tell me what you think. No
Again,
edible flowers for you this time.
No edible flowers, no. Again, really refreshing, very clean and fruity, as you say. I'm going back to the flower one.
Go back to the flower.
I just think this is amazing. Kampai.
Kampai.
The future is sake.
And cocktails. Yeah.
Lovely.
Don't say anything. Hello. Right. The quality of that picture wasn't that great, but that wasn't Rose's fault. That was ours. Hello. Right. The quality of that picture wasn't that great, but that wasn't Rose's fault. That was ours. Right. There we are. We got a bit of feedback, and we shouldn't have. Never mind. There we go. We should be all right now. Okay. Yes. Liza is here. She'll be on deck in 15 minutes. But let me just to make sure that you don't think that I'm lying. Yes, there she is in all her glory.
How you doing,
Feisty as
all of
ever. Yeah, ready for bear and to take on the world. And let's face it. We don't have that many champions to take on. But I'm going to actually tell you now. I'm going to introduce you to, I hope, yes, 2 champions that I admire enormously. He said, and it'll take me a little moment, just only a little moment, Mr. Hayes, Mr. Keith. There, I've got them. You have no idea how great I feel when I can actually do these things, because It takes me a long time to understand how these things work, but nonetheless, I am going to tell you now. I'm going to give you a little odyssey because sitting to my right, waiting to come on, is a lady who books no interference with her thoughts and so on and so forth, no matter how different and so on they may be. Now, it's been my privilege and pleasure to meet ladies like that. Not many of them around the world, and there are two that I want to introduce you to. One needs no introduction because she's from here, and she. If I remember how the hell to do this, is uh, let us. Here we go. Show. There we are. Just get rid of me. Get rid of me, Mr. Keith. Told you all this this stuff. But now get rid of me. There I am. Right. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is, because it's almost time for that other formidable lady, Liza Page, and I'm going to see whether we can just find a little promo or something to play while we actually get her settled in. Ooh. Well, I know what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to play the latest in our little. No, I'm not. It's going to take too long. Right. Let's see if this promotional. This is a promotional one, I think. So it'll give us back our town. Beer, wine.
So, thank you for joining.
All right.
Hey, Ellie, come on, give us a kiss. Come on.
Do admire the thing I belong on the way. They can't even cut that back properly.
Hello. At last I've caught you asleep.
You did hold up a Bible upside down, but you held it up.
It's all right. It is a massive, massive ball of uselessness. Oh, you can't say that. Why is it my romances all go wrong? Ellie was the first girl her mother thought we'd twee. She sent a big invitation with an RSVP.
It is wonderful to end a day like this, where I am completely sober and articulate, and I'm surrounded by people who cannot put two words together.
You said end the day like this. Isn't this the morning programme or something?
Yes.
Okay. You're ending it already?
Yeah, well, you've been drinking all day.
All day? That's all right then. It is the morning programme, you know.
Well, you will be drinking all day.
Oh God, after this I will.
We've learned so much on this epic journey. We've learned what makes Lewis Lewis and what it's had to deal with in the past. We've learned... What else did we learn?
I'm Mark Landsman.
Diddle bib.
Pray for me. Goodbye.
Mirador TV. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Right, there you go. You see,
Hello.
she takes up most of the screen, nudging me to the side.
No,
That's
come
okay.
on. That's not fair. That's better.
Right.
That's fair.
Oh, I'm
isn't
just
it?
feisty today. I'm full of it today.
Oh, good.
You know, I sometimes, like you, get a bit depressed about the world, but then, I'd forgotten about Betty Boothroyd.
Yes.
I hadn't really forgotten, but she'd been nudged to the back because she was no longer
She
speaker.
was a
and,
lovely. I remember her very well.
she was
a
a
lovely lady.
magnificent. Never mind. We'll do that in a minute. Is a magnificent lady.
Can I do it for you?
No, don't even start to fart around with it, because otherwise we'll be there at 11 o'clock and not have said a word. It's technical.
No, but then I'm really not the right person.
It's a plug that we've got to plug in. Plugging in plugs is not something that I do very well. Okay, right, Liza Page. And what we've got to do first of all is find the identification thing.
You missed it.
Did I miss it? I got one there with Max Hurd.
Yeah.
Here we go. It's here somewhere. So don't worry. Never fret. Never fret. We get there in the end.
There it is down
Here
there.
we go. Right. There we go.
Ah.
There now you know who you're talking to. Who's
Now
talking
I
to
know
you.
who I am.
That's right.
And sometimes I don't. You see, so.
Right. Okay. Right. The whirlwind. Reap the whirlwind.
No, I'm quite tame today. Life is taming
Tame?
me. Life is taming me.
Oh,
The way it does us all.
it's you bloody taming life. All right. Okay. Well, I'll tell you.
What do you
I'm going to
think?
wind you up now so that you'll start to tell us what's happening out there. Okay. Partitioning of Oxford. Tell
Yes.
people what's bothering you about that, what it is, and how far it is along the route.
I think we have made an incredible dent in that with that last March, Saturday before last. I really do. I mean, there was a big crowd there. They stood up, they made some speeches. some
Okay, but a lot of
heavyweights
people
there.
only have just tuned in
Yes.
for the first time. They won't know what the hell you're talking about.
Well,
so tell us what
okay.
you're talking about and then tell us about the crowd denting it.
All right. Well, now then I tell you what they're trying to do. They are trying to make what they call tiny cities, 15-minute cities. And one is a 20-minute city where you have everything around you, a little within a radius of 15 minutes, like a shop, a hospital. I don't know about that, but they say so. And all your basic sort of needs, a little park for your children. But you've got to ride a bicycle to get around or walk because there won't be any cars. You can't order a taxi if you're loaded up with shopping to take you home. And also, if you have a car, you can only take that car out for 100 hours a year. And when you take your car, you have to go to the authorities, whoever these bastards are, and say, can I take my car out, please? And register your car as to where you're going, how long you will be. And I think that's a bit like an internment camp, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I'm going to ask you, what's the point of all this?
Well, the point of it all is the very, very heavy surveillance which they have in these cities. They know absolutely where you are, who you are, where you're going, a total Chinese regime. And no matter how they dress it up, this is all about control. They say, well, there won't be cars on the road, so that's good for the climate. Yeah, that old chestnut that they're still pushing. And these 15-minute cities are planned for all over Britain, all over Europe, and in America. This is as far as I have got. Now, Saturday before last, there was a huge protest crowd there, all totally well behaved, very, very nice people, but they had their banners saying, no, we do not want this, this is wrong. There were a couple of rabble-rousers, sort of rent-a-rabble, that sort of business to make us look bad. But they didn't get them very far. And there's the police all there on horses, got to control these people. It didn't need any controlling at all for the simple reason these were normal human beings demonstrating for their rights. Well, the British, it takes a long time, doesn't it, to get up off our asses and do anything. We fight well in a war, mind you, but it takes a world war for us to get up and have a go. Now, the eye is opening. and it's a magnificent sight to see. I can't tell you. You know, I was an entertainer. I've worked all over the world and lived in a few different countries, but I'm quintessentially an English woman. There's something about Britain, a lot of things about Britain, even still, that I like.
Yeah, now you say that it's a new world order that is trying to partition these towns and
Oh,
so on.
yes,
But
yes,
who
indeed.
is? I mean, crowds don't just turn up. Who is organising the opposition? Why did these people demonstrate?
They're demonstrating in Maine for these cities, but against this one world order, which is coming.
Well, yes,
on
but
fast
who's
and
organising the
furious.
resistance? Who's organising the marches?
What, on our part?
Yeah.
The marches? Well, there's strong force from David Icke and many, many more of David's followers, of which I am very, very much one. But there are other people too, and some wealthy people that know what is going on, and they're just not standing for it. We do not advocate violence in any shape or form, but we are saying no very strongly now, very strongly. And it's a good feeling, I can't tell you, Keith.
Right. But is what I'm really getting at is obviously a lot of people turn out, but you know, I merrily trot along in my little way from the pub to flat, from the flat to the pub, to the pub to the flat, and I don't pick up much at all. So obviously the word is spreading to all sorts of people to take part in these demonstrations.
Yes.
How is that happening? That's what I'm getting at.
Well, I am a bit of a loner, I must tell you. I've read all of David's books, and now last week I told you I've virtually gone back to school with him because I'm reading his books all over again. And I thought, know the lot. No, you got to keep going and reading him, you know. And it's a joy. But these books, I tell you, they're not for the faint-hearted. Read him if you dare, but don't read him at your peril. And I mean that sincerely, because what's happening today, David Icke, is all we've got. Promise you, we haven't got anybody else.
Okay, but there's a march in Oxford. How do these people find out about it? That's what I'm getting at.
Well, I think the word is just spread. There's a lady in particular there who organizes these marches. She has been arrested for her trouble and been caused an awful lot of hope, but she, like Betty Boothroyd, she keeps coming, you know.
Right.
No holding her, and there are one or two like her which organize these things. So I didn't find out about it until the very last minute. Otherwise, I would have sent, you know, our young fellow Max, because he badly wanted to go to some of those demonstrations. Anyway, it was too late, but I'm very sure there will be a hell of a lot more.
Well,
There will be an awful lot more.
I mean, it's a key issue, as you said, and if I mean, it's the 15-minute city is. It's the same as a demonstration. The 15-minute demonstration has got to occur many, many times for it to be effective.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Thank you for explaining that and giving us an update on what's happening. Now, you, as you say, you read a lot, you study a lot, you talk to a lot of people, and so on and so forth. So, since you were here last week, what's happening?
Well, I was a bit late cottoning on this one because the channels that I normally watch, they're not, you know, your average stuff.
Right,
So
right.
I never read a paper, for goodness sake, you know. I won't pollute my mind with that rubbish. But it seems that Hancock is in a bit of
Oh, yes, he is.
Now tell me, have they offered him assisted suicide yet?
Not that I'm aware. Not that I'm aware.
Because he might be up for that.
Yeah. Let's see. It's perhaps we can illustrate this.
There he is.
He is.
The little chappy.
Right. Okay.
Sorry,
now,
mate, you're in a lot of deep shit.
Go over what Hancock is up to, because he has headlines this morning. He's on front pages.
Yes, well, Hancock was responsible for the murder of many, many, many people during the pandemic 2 years ago. It's on record. He ordered this midazolam before any pandemic was even spoken about. Have you got enough needles? And blah, blah, but this was all for a smooth death. Now then, the people, and that is on DVD, him saying that. Now then, the people that have lost their loved ones through this dreadful, terrible business instigated by these governments, they're not going to let up. No, they're going to keep coming and coming and coming. And people are going to go down for this. I think they should go to prison for the rest of their lives. And but there other people would have other ideas, I'm very, very sure. Now then, I interviewed a very nice man called Vince Cable some weeks back. And during the conversation, I mentioned the locked up cities, the 15-minute cities. He didn't have the faintest idea what I was talking about. And he did mention a couple of times during the interview, the pandemic, that's all in the past, all in the past. Well, I'm afraid, Vince, it isn't. No, because mass murder, people are inclined to remember. And I don't honestly think just because they've cottoned on to Hancock that this is going to bring down the pack of cards. It's not going to do it any good. But I don't think it's going to bring down the pack of cards. I think it's going to take a little more than that. But British justice, I don't have a lot of faith in at the moment. But something has to be done about Matt. And I don't quite know what it is. I think the man should go to prison for the rest of his life. They're deciding whether or not to charge him. I tend to think that what will happen is he might have an accident, or he might commit suicide, something like that.
Oh, silly.
I think possibly. It's just going through my mind.
Yes.
Something like that might happen because he's an awfully worried man.
You think so?
Oh, I think he's dreadful.
Yeah.
I would be.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, the fact is that you just heard me express my own viewpoint about politicians, the great and the pygmy. But I always it took Hancock as being one of those people that sort of sailed through life not being worried much about anything.
Oh no, I think that Hancock is the oil rag for the mechanics, quite frankly. I really do. This is a vast business. They're trying desperately to bring in this one world order, and they will stop at nothing to do it, and they will use anybody in their path.
Yeah.
This is an evil, evil cabal that we are fighting, and we need all the help we can get.
All right, now is once again what you said. That Hancock may be sort of thinking, considering suicide. But what I'm saying to you is, he does not appear to me to be a man who lets things worry him too much. I mean, let's face it. He went on get me out of the jungle or whatever the hell it is.
Oh, yes, yes.
And all his colleagues in the House of Commons said, oh, yeah. And he said, but I'm getting a nice check, thank you.
Yes,
I mean,
and it was a nice check.
Yes.
And he said, but of course, I'm going to give some of this to charity. He gave 10 grand to charity and copped on all the rest himself, which didn't exactly endear him to anyone. But apart from all that, I mean, the terrible, dreadful, appalling things that the man has done. And no, there's good old British public, you know, you can only, as Donald Trump said, you can only push people so far, really.
Yes, indeed.
And I think that he's not nearly the tip of the iceberg. Of course he isn't. Of course he isn't. Yeah. But what happened with Hancock happened all over the world. You know that, don't you?
Yes, okay. Now, once again, you know, being a long-time journalist, what I have to explain to people is that, you know, you talk about a 15-minute city, is that people have 15-minute memories. He can appear on television at 12 o'clock, and by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, they've forgotten him and what he said.
Exactly. This is what he's hoping is going to happen, but I don't think the good old British public are going to allow that to happen.
Well,
I think they're going to keep coming after him.
Okay, you keep prodding them. What exactly did he do during the lockdown, during COVID, that is causing people to get so excited?
Well, he killed an awful lot of people. He imported a drug called midazolam from France, loads of this stuff, which is a killer disease, medicine. It's used to put people to death in America. In the executions, it's used in that. He ordered all this, and from France before the pandemic was ever thought of, for a smooth death for the elderly. And he is on this saying this, and these people were ordered in these hospitals to put people to death. When they came in, they said died of COVID on the reports, and these people probably could have lived another 10 or 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then he pushed took the elderly out of the hospitals and pushed them into rest homes where they didn't receive any treatment whatsoever. They weren't well enough to go back to the rest homes. And he said he didn't have enough testing equipment. That was why he sent them back to the rest homes. I had to save the testing equipment for other people. Yes, I've made mistakes. We've all made mistakes. We didn't know what we were doing. Well, I said it's going to be, yes, now these are mistakes that we must learn from. Let them start learning those mistakes on Guantanamo Bay, Keith. You know, learn them
there. Well, I'll tell you, Matt, don't come across Liza because you're in trouble, mate.
Yes, he would be.
Okay,
yes.
Now you've got copious notes there because what you do each week is, I mean, you are fastidious in trying to find out what's going on. So bring us all up to date on various things.
New research reveals 57-fold increase in births and fetal deaths after mRNA jabs. The greatest violation of medical ethics and humanity ever, says leading obstetrician James Thorpe. This is truly horrifying. Well, we got another thing here. Pfizer, excuse me. Gosport Memorial Hospital being investigated for many deaths. Yes. Now then, there was a thing about
Gosport. That's in the north, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Pfizer has confirmed it stopped its clinical trials analyzing COVID-19 vaccine safety and efficiency in pregnant women too early. Okay?
Now, Pfizer is now. Yes, I mean, I think all this is very important information, but I'd like you to put it into context for people. As I say, people forget very quickly.
You're so right, so right. And thank you for reminding me. Pfizer, Pfizer makes the jabs.
Right.
Yes. Ah, dear.
And what's it done? Suspended?
It didn't try long enough
In
before
fact, it rushed it.
It rushed it. It was too quick. Yes. And it is now admitting that it has confirmed it stopped the clinical trials too soon.
Right.
Before putting these out onto the market. Yes, well, we know all that, don't we? Now then. Yes. State-mandated suicide for elderly people. It's cheaper for the state if you die.
Who says that?
This is the little Japanese chappie, Yusuke Narita, an assistant professor of economics, stated, "I feel like the only solution is pretty clear."
Yeah.
Of course, Canada goes along with him, doesn't he, on that? You know.
Yes. Yes.
You know, they're all for assisted suicide, but he's talking about making it mandatory, that where the elderly should, after a cut-off age, be forced to commit suicide.
Yeah.
I think there was some cult or something in I think it was Sweden or somewhere, where they did that, and they forced a woman to jump off a cliff.
That's weak.
Yeah. Well, I think you and I better watch out.
I mean, walk towards the edge of any cliffs.
No, I mean, don't go along with this mandatory death at a certain age.
Yes.
I find that rather cruel.
I must say that because I've got a lot of relatives in Canada, they send me a lot of stuff to read about this very topic. There seem to be, well, two things. It seems that what you call the world order is far more advanced in Canada than it is elsewhere. But secondly, that they have far more resistance to it than we do, because the legislation is already underway. Now, that's just from me reading stuff that I sent by my relatives.
Yes, so they're very informed people, aren't they? So I read some of their stuff out.
Yeah.
No, I wish they'd send us some more. that would be very, very useful. Anyway, this is very, very serious. I try to keep a smile on my face for all the obvious reasons, but this is very, very dangerous times we are living in, I can tell you. This is the biggie. The Biden administration's negotiating deal to give WHO, that's the World Health Organization, authority over US pandemic policies. This bill gives the World Health Organization near total authority over absolutely everything.
Now, where's that bill? Is that being put before the Senate, Congress? I don't totally understand American
neither
politics.
do I. But they did send a form out, which I told you about last week, which they slid in under the radar.
Right.
Nobody knew it was there except a lady on Sandy Adams on the David Icke show. She found it. But you see, it's always got to be so quick. You've got to get in before the first of the month, because they deliberately leave it where you haven't got. Well, where is the form? You know, let me see it. Right.
No, there's no Blair trick. Yes.
All yes, very, very calculated. And so But then again, if we had all signed it and said no, I don't know if it would make a lot of difference anyway, because the world's so crooked. I mean, at the time, it's unbelievable. Anyway, Biden is going to sign this thing, and already I found a lady on the internet who said it has already been passed in Australia.
We've got
Australia.
Melissa Conte on tomorroh from New York.
Well, you can
we'll
ask
make
her
sure that we
about
ask her this.
Oh, I wish you
this,
would.
yes.
I wish you would.
And to see where the thing stands.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, this is one of the things
Because
that we
this
can do.
This is terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really.
Right.
This is Klaus Schwab. You see, all affiliated with the WEF.
Right, the World Economic Forum.
Yes.
A very formidable organisation.
Very formidable with them. Well, they're hand in hand with the World Health Organization.
Right. So the WHO will be able to. Now, is this just in America or anywhere?
World.
The world.
Yes, and once Biden passes it in America, I go,
you'll think everybody else will go along.
Yes, because we're a satellite of America, aren't we?
Well,
and
in some ways, yes.
Yes.
Other ways, perhaps we.
But it is so dangerous. They can break into your home, strip you naked, inject you with these injections. If you say, no, I'm sorry, I don't want this. And they can take you to the rehabilitation cities, 15-minute cities, they're dressing them up as, that are organized all over America for people who go say one word against the government or say they don't want the injections, thank you very much, or say anything that the World Health doesn't like.
Now, as you say that basically they can get anywhere, is what you're saying. Yes.
But they have the authority to do it. You see.
Yeah, but that seems to fly in the face of the idea of locking us down into 15-minute cities.
It seems to smell a little bit of the same odor to me.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Control. You see, these cities are about control.
Right.
Right. And this lot are about control, aren't they?
Yeah. And
this is to bring in this new world order.
Yes.
Like Klaus, you will have nothing and be happy. You will have nothing because I've got the lot.
Well, you let me have a little bit of it.
Do you think he'd buy us a cup of coffee?
No. Let's sort of make their money by not buying people like us a cup of coffee.
And yes,
they even pay all their fags.
Yes, one thing that I've forgotten. See, I forget things. Senior moment. Mr. Tony Blair is on there again, saying he wants to pass this bill for the digital identity cards. Yes.
We all would have a digital identity card.
Yes.
Now,
and
how
which
would that
he
work?
has been passing since he was in office, trying to pass.
Right.
What it will be is an identity tag or whatever, or onto your app, where without that, which will have your birth, your health, your politics, every single thing about you will be on that digital identity card. And you won't be able to go anywhere without it.
Well, there's sort of there's a bit of that, isn't there? I mean, quite often, if I am dealing with somebody, they don't ask for my name anymore. They say, "Give me your date of birth."
Yes, I've noticed that too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's all they need, and then they've got everything else about you. Yeah.
Would seem like it. Yes, I'm not. Look, I'm not that naive. I know they pretty much know everything about all of us, of course. But after that comes the microchip. See, this is the paper microchip.
And that You're saying we'll all be microchipped.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they're all about. And once we're microchipped, they can spot us in Africa, wherever we are.
Yes.
They have
What
access
you're
to-
saying is that they actually are fixing these microchips into various members of the public under false pretenses. I'm not saying this is to
Certainly.
keep an eye on you.
Yeah,
This is for
well, now it is done under false pretenses. Of course it is, but it will be legal, and people will go for it. Well, they're already going for it in Sweden. I mean, look, I
Well,
can
what's happening in
open. Look,
Sweden?
I've got it in my wrist. You see?
Okay, wait. One step back. What's
What?
happening in Sweden?
Well, they're going for the microchip.
Are they?
Oh yes.
Yes, right. Now, once again,
They think it's great fun.
you've jumped halfway down the track. Tell us about Sweden.
Well, Sweden, I don't know that much about it. I haven't lived there. I think I went there once, sort of in and out, 48 hours, but I've always had great admiration for Sweden. I think they're a progressive country. It's very clean and very pleasant people, very civilized, I thought. But this microchip has been around a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
A hell of a long time, Keith. We
And
were
the Swedes,
talking
the
about
Swedes
that
are
last
leaders
week.
in it, are they?
Well, not necessarily leaders, because people were having these microchips 5-6 years ago in Brighton. Yes, and paying for it.
Well,
Yes.
how does that work?
Well, look, they started off by microchipping animals, didn't
Yes,
they?
yes.
Oh, you wouldn't want to lose your little pussycat, would you? You know? And then the next it will be, well, lots of children are stolen, so microchip them from birth, and then there won't be any doubt that that was your child when you come out. It's all very cleverly worked out.
Right.
And then if you have a microchip, there's everything about you there. You won't need his little passports, nothing like that. And you go like that, you can open a door because you're too lazy to get up and open it yourself. I mean, all these are so clever the way they have worked this out, because they want a microchipped world. They
Yes.
said we want a vaccinated world. I mean, that started before any pandemic was pushed, dancing around all excited, these politicians. Listen, anybody that says they want to vaccinate the world is insane. They are certifiably mad, these people.
Well, I mean, your thesis would be from actually what I would now call your side is that they're mad anyway. Is they're mad with power, mad with
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
I mean,
These are psychotic people. There is no doubt about it.
Well, strangely enough, in our little archives here, we've got a program called Casham, which we did a series on crime locally.
Yes.
And we also gave advisories. And in that program is the advisory that it is now illegal to have a dog that isn't microchipped.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
So the dogs already are. That's
And they
not a-
want to microchip every single animal on the planet. Oh.
Mm. So
But the thing is,
what
now
what
there
happens
is
if I
a,
swallow one in my steak? Would that mean that they could actually keep tabs on me because
Well,
I just
of
swallowed the
course.
cow microchip?
Listen, look, let's be realistic. We are probably both microchipped while we're sitting here watching this.
Uh-huh.
But the thing was, they couldn't make vaccinations mandatory, but under this new bill, they will be able to, and they will be mandatory for the microchip too.
Right.
See, this is how dangerous this bill is.
Okay. Right. Now, you've still got some paper there with a few things that you've been looking at. No more?
No, I've been personal reasons. I wasn't able to go deeply into the into the research.
Well,
on
you
this.
go deeply enough. I mean,
Yes, I do.
You don't
And,
actually come on here and make
I
make
do.
accusations without having done your homework, which is
No, and
uh,
my
is
homework
why-
does
yeah.
suggest that there will be a war with China and America.
That is. I think that many people are worried about world wars right now. I mean, the fact is that the Russians aren't going to give up in Ukraine. The Chinese are busy sending over drones and balloons and so on and so forth, particularly to their near neighbours, but also, I mean, as it's pointed out, is China isn't that far away from the United States, and most certainly Russia isn't. I mean, I don't know whether people know, but you can actually stand in northern United States now, because Alaska is now a state, a full state,
Yes.
and you can look across the Bering Sea, and you're looking at Russia.
Yes.
So there is that proximity.
Yes.
I'm not so sure about.
Very, very serious. But you see, to bring in this new world order, they really have to have a war. Because when war comes between those two, well, it's be World War all in it.
So
They will say at the end of it, if there is an end, I'm not so
Yeah.
sure, because at this Davos meeting where they had the WEF, some woman there stood up and said, well, we'll keep this war with Ukraine going for the next 17 years. That's rather a long time, isn't it?
Well, yes, but I mean, I can't see any point in if they want world domination and you introduce a new world order. I can't see any point in keeping a war going for 17 years. Surely, what you want is a short, sharp war that gives you the opportunity to put your theses into practice.
Well, I'm so against wars.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not going to go and fight. And listen, if someone's on my doorstep, then I'll fight. No. Oh, yes. Sorry. No, you don't
Yes.
invade my country and do this.
Yeah. So you have sympathy with the Ukraine.
No, I don't. I have sympathy
Why?
with the Ukraine because it's a corrupt country put in by America.
Now, hang on.
They were responsible for
Right.
the.
Okay. Let me give you a challenge. You tell me a country that is not corrupt.
Well, that's hard. That is very difficult. But America was responsible for the revolution there, the takeover bid, weren't they? They did put this fellow in.
Well, they certainly supported it, but actually, the EU has been much more of an influence in Ukraine. I mean, I've worked in Ukraine, and I've seen the EU at first hand operating there, and of course NATO, which now there would be American influence, of course. But I wonder
and then
whether
the EU.
sorry.
The EU, are you in favor of the EU?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying I've seen them operating. So when you say that the Americans were putting in a puppet, the European Union has been much more active in.
Well, maybe they've put him in. It's all big business.
Yeah.
Follow the money.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not. I mean, I'm not arguing your basic thesis. What I am saying to you is, have you got the right players? Is it, in the case of Ukraine, was it really the Europeans rather than the Americans who are influencing there?
That I don't know, but I could find out very easily. Very easily.
I think that might be a good idea
And-
because this is all new to a lot of people.
Yes.
And I think it's right and proper that what we should do is try to make sure that we don't just wave our hands just because the Americans have been imperialistic in the past, is that they were imperialistic in Ukraine. That's your task for the week.
I just tend to think, though, that if Donald Trump had been in office, this war would never, ever have happened.
You think?
With Russia? No. And I think that's why they had him out, because they wanted to negotiate this war. Just a thought. Just a thought.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's worth investigating. That's for sure. Okay, Liza. Now, believe it or not, we've been 3/4 of an hour together.
And you said I hadn't done my research, didn't you?
I did not say that at all.
Oh, you implied.
I know. I
You said I was very naughty, hadn't done my homework.
No, I think that the lot of the things that you have investigated very carefully, you've done your homework extremely well. But there is always a tendency for us to extend it a little bit, and then sort of go down a path that is a common way of thinking without actually getting the evidence. So you may well be right. It may well be American influence in Ukraine. But my own personal experience, having worked in Ukraine, is that it's the European Union that was very active there. So it'd be interesting to see what you come up with, and I will dig up a bit of where I remember from being there.
How long ago were you over there?
I was about 2010, 2011, something like that. I mean, I say not very long ago. But
well, yes.
But in the scheme of things, not really.
No, it wasn't that long ago, actually. Things do tend to change very quickly, don't they?
Yes, they do. I mean, the world is going helter-skelter.
Yes.
Right, now, before we actually say toodle-pip, have you got anything else that you've got? Anything you're going to do? Anything you're looking at?
No, not for the moment. There's a lot of things going on, and a couple of books that I have to. I've been sent away for his latest. Our lovely Dr. Vernon Coleman, lovely man. He serves my purpose very well.
Right now, you're also hoping to arrange an interview with a gentleman, aren't you?
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, I have written to him. And this is Andrew Bridgden, who I really have great regard for this man. I think, he's stuck his head over the precipice and they've tried to knock it off, but he's coming back. It's like watching a good jockey on a crack horse ride a finish. When I see these people succeed, it's so marvelous, and I admire them so much. No, he stood up again, and actually they don't want to know. But he's in there, and he cannot be ignored. I'm sorry. No.
Okay, well,
you see, they can't just slam people down like Hancock. Oh, terrible! Yes, get rid of him. Yeah, you're not in a great position now, are you, Hancock? No, indeed at all. Yeah.
Well, I mean, all I'm really saying is, and I think that you're actually backing up what I say now, is people forget very quickly. And I think that anything really, really, very serious needs to be kept under the nose of the population.
You're so right, because they want all this pandemic thing forgotten. Oh yes, that's yesterday, like the politician said to me. Oh no, that no, don't know about that. That's all finished. Huh? Is it? No, it's not.
Okay, well, we'll look forward to seeing you this time next week with whatever has happened. As you say, things happen very quickly. And just a week now in the life of is becoming, an awful lot happens in a week.
Absolutely. Absolutely, yes. You've got to be on top of it all the time. That's why I'm on this machine till 3 a.m.
Right.
From David Icke, as the new news comes in all the time, and then the Epochs channel, which is brilliant, and I even go to Rumble and some of these channels. I go and the Kennedy Channel too, you know, for these little children. He's marvelous. Kennedy Jr., this man is brilliant. And this is what I have to do to keep my brain healthy and keep myself alive, because, you know, even though I'm an old lady and you're an old man, I mean, we don't want people ending our lives for us before God decides that we should go.
No, nobody's going to end my life until I'm ready for it.
Exactly.
Not even God. I go to St. Michael's every other Sunday, and I go in there. I say, "Now listen here."
I'm sure I'm sure he pays attention. I'm sure
I
he
set
does.
his path for the week.
Well, there you go. That man relies on you.
Liza, you're a joy to have. You're an interesting lady, and as I said, you're very formidable, and it's very interesting to listen to your various sorry, I'm just trying to find yes, there we go. It's to listen to what you have to say, because you actually you do talk to the people in the who are the activists, if you like. You do read, you do listen, and you do draw your own conclusions. And so what you have to say is interesting, not only interesting but informative.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Now I've got one question left. You've got a program that you've been doing with our former pal Max.
Yes,
and,
yes, indeed.
Where is it?
Well, I'm seeing Max tomorrow. We're going to shoot it. The program is called Age and Youth.
Right.
And I work with a young man called Max Hurd. He's 19 years of age, very sharp, very bright, and I'm enjoying working with him very much. We discuss world affairs, and because we're trying to get the young people interested in what is going on and try to inform them about things. That's why Max has been good enough to work with me, because he's young.
That's excellent. Well, we look forward to seeing that. But
well, you did show one of them on
yes,
here,
I know, and it's very important that the others come along, because once again, people forget.
Yes, they do. Yes,
and,
I'll ask Max to send them through to you tomorrow.
Well, we know that that's coming along.
Yes.
Okay, right. We're going to say goodbye to the viewers. Stay where you are, because we've got 10 minutes left before the end of the program. And what I've been doing this week is I've been showing some. We used to start programs by going down to, for instance, Grange Gardens and talking history in a very relaxed sort of way.
Those are lovely brochures there.
Well, this one isn't necessarily historical, but it's all about the Notts Garden, which is one of my favorites. So let's go to the Notts Garden, shall we? He said, yeah, okay. A signal lesson to any man. Oh, and the feminists will get going. This used to be my hideaway. This was my summer office, my summer studio. I could come down here and hide away. It's the Notts Garden in Lewes Grange Park. And what did I do? I told her. Can't ever tell you anything as a secret. You're a real snooper, aren't you?
No.
Oh, look at that innocent face. Look at that innocent face. He's snooped absolutely anything and everything. But for the longest time, I thought that a Notts Garden was where people came and tied knots. I got my proposal already.
and then the woman decamped. But it's not. Do you know what a Knots Garden is?
I'm sure you will explain. Go on. Please do share your knowledge.
Very well.
I can never shut you up anyway.
Can't
Maybe
get a
someone
word-
out there is listening. Maybe someone actually does want to know.
No word in edgewise. Yeah.
You asked me a question.
Can I tell anybody now?
Come on then.
A Knots Garden is a symmetrical garden. It's laid out, it's planned quite carefully. And this one is a classic example. It's small, petite, but it's laid out in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes, and it's square. It's got lovely walls around it and plans. So it is a typical and a very good example of a Knots Garden. But it also is a place of seclusion. And this one is particularly nice. It was until you found it.
Well, I need to be able to find you in case you, I don't know, break your leg or something. If you don't come into work, I need to be able to find you.
Did you say break a leg or break an egg?
No, dear, Break an Egg is a wonderful program. Do you know the difference? I think.
Are you asking me whether I know the difference, or you're saying you do know the difference?
Oh, blooming heck, I said I know the difference.
You mean you weren't picking up for a change?
What?
What?
I stopped listening. 15 seconds ago.
Oh. Well, the nice thing is it's a bit nearer to the pub than the other places we've been in this park.
Oh, thank God for that.
Oh, you want to go for Bloody Mary, do you?
I can just smell it.
Oh, there we are, you see. Now the truth comes out. Prim and proper, right up until opening time. I was going to say closing time. Oh, opening time. And then it all comes out. Bloody Marys, yeah, you can't stay away from them. Whereas I have gone to Krabby's. Ginger beer. Alcoholic ginger beer, but nonetheless ginger beer. Anyway, the fact is that this garden, I think it is at the moment looking quite wild, because as you know, there are problems with wildlife in this country. We are so naughty in terms of our environment that butterflies and bees and all the things that make up part of our chain of living are not getting the proper attention. So this Knots Garden has got a nice wildflower flowers, I suppose we say, to attract the birds and the bees. Oh, we're in the Knots Garden with the birds and the bees.
I knew that was coming. And here it is, your most favourite subject.
Oh yeah, and like, can we get on to oysters now then?
We've done that already.
Oh, we've
Just
done that.
stop.
Oh dear. Well, I only ate a half dozen the first time, and I brought a dozen along.
What, in your bag?
Yes.
Oh dear.
I
They
know.
must stink by
Well,
now.
I didn't actually. But what I did do, because I have been a good boy, and you've been a naughty girl all week, pulling fun at me, I did bring a little bit of champagne. And I have to say that I suppose we're very naughty because of COVID, but we do come from the same bubble.
No.
Oh.
I'm not sharing a bottle with you.
Is that right?
So unless that is for me, don't even open it.
No, hang on. I want that promise again.
Oh, okay.
You're not going to share anything.
That's all right, dear. You need it more than I do.
Right.
There he is, calling himself a gentleman. A glass wouldn't go amiss, you know.
I didn't think to bring one.
I don't suppose gentlemen actually drink from the bottle.
Do not.
I don't believe so.
Oh my goodness me, can you give me the set of rules?
It's in my office desk. I have some made up just for you. I think you need some rules, I mean. Rules.
You see what a Knots Garden does to you?
I can see that.
She always says it's not very far from my mind. Did you see that? Did you hear that?
What?
Oh,
I was talking about rules.
Well, there's a very nice restaurant in London called Rules.
Indeed.
Yeah.
1700s, was it?
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep, the oldest in London.
Even featured in Downton Abbey.
Is it really?
Mhm.
Have you been there?
Yes.
And then you complain because I'm drinking champagne.
From a bottle.
Well, I would offer you some, except thank God COVID or COVID, however you pronounce it, has made sure that I am the one to get most of it.
Yeah, well, you made sure of that, didn't you?
One of the things I think that is nice about not only this Knott's Garden, pretty though it is this entire complex is it really covers history from about 1066, pretty damn close to the conquest, right through to the modern day. History keeps on being made here. And I think that as a sample of Englishness, if you like, 1,000 years or more, you can't go far wrong than a visit to here. So I'm glad that we're here. I'm glad that we're in the Knott's Garden. Are we going to tie the knot? I know how to swear at her.
Have you got a string so I can tie the knot? Can't do it without that.
Well, there we go. A very good morning to you from the Knott's Garden in Grange Park in Southover part of Lewes. And if you're watching in Lewes in the United States, we welcome you, and we look forward later in the year to joining some of your citizens and some of the history that is inherent in Lewes, Delaware. Because in Lewes, Delaware, there's an English cannonball fired by the commander in the War of 1812 of a British man-of-war. He missed the town and hit a staircase, and the total casualty was 1 pig and 2 hens, none of whom died. They were just injured. What a war it was. Oh, what a lovely war. Until next week. Toodle pip.
Goodbye.
ladies, and the other one is sitting to my right here, and she's been giving you an earful this morning too. So, powerful ladies, never mind about all this ism nonsense. Ladies can rise to the top in their own endeavors, and don't make any mistake about it. They don't need any help. They can do it, and that's the way it should be done. It's time to go before I get myself into any more trouble. All right. And let's see. We need to get back into. There we go. Toodle pip, toodle toodle
Bye-bye.
toodle pip. Say goodbye.
Say goodbye.
Thank you.